Hi there. I wanted to talk about 5 ways that you can make a lighter weight feel heavy. So sometimes when you're working out at home, you don't always have all the choices of dumbbells for an optimal workout. But instead of going to buy more, maybe there's some creative ways that you can make those weights feel a little bit heavier. So I'm going to walk you through 5 different ways that you can do that. So the first one is to simply double up your weight. So if you have just 2 weights at home and they're too light for most things, then you would just take them both into one hand. If you had 2 different weights, say like a 5 and a 10, then you could take one of each in your hand. So you could make a 15-pound weight by holding here, or you could make a 10-pound or a 20-pound weight. And the nice thing about this one as well is that you work a little bit on your grip strength, which is something we don't often work on because you have to get a little creative with the way that you hold it. So for example, coming into a bent over row, if the current weight that you have for your bent over row is too light to get any benefit from, then you would use, say, this 20-pound weight and then pull back and continue your exercise from there. All right, so that is number 1, is to just simply double up the weight. Tip number 2, we're going to look at eccentrics. So all strength exercises, all movements have a concentric portion and an eccentric. So the eccentric is basically the time under tension. So let's look at a basic bicep curl, for example. So if you take your 10-pound weights that you have, and maybe just doing a regular bicep curl isn't challenging anymore, and you can do 20 reps without really feeling much. But if you focus on the eccentric, so this here is your concentric, and eccentric is the lowering portion, and if you slow that down, then suddenly it becomes harder, and then coming back up, and then slow and controlled on the way down. And then all of a sudden, those light 10-pound weights become a lot heavier. So eccentrics can be done for all types of exercises. Let's say, for example, you're doing a squat. Maybe you're holding both dumbbells at your chest, so you would come down. Your eccentric would be the lowering phase here. So slow and controlled, and then up for 1. So you could count in your head somewhere maybe 5 seconds to lower to that bottom portion, and then all the way back up. So you can apply it to all sorts of different exercises. Eccentrics are a really great way to build up some strength. Our third one is to change up the tempo. So going back to that bicep curl, most of us, we don't really think much about the tempo. We just go up and down. Basically, it's a 1 count up, pause, 1 count down, or maybe there's no pause, so it's 1, 0, 1, 0. But if you change that tempo, then again, you can really create some challenge for those muscles. So if you go up, 1, 2, 3, pause, 2, 3, down, 2, 3, pause, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, pause, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, pause, 2, 3. So that's an example of, say, a 3-second tempo. You can change that as well. Your up phase can be longer than your down phase. So maybe this is 5 seconds, 2-second pause, 3, 4, maybe 5-second lower. So you can change it up, play around with that. So that's tempo. So there's 4 numbers there. There's your pause at the bottom, then there's the concentric, then there's the pause at the top, then there's the eccentric. So thinking about that, how much you pause, how much time you take to lower and to lift. And that goes again with any exercise. So visualize that in something like a row again. You would come here at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, pause, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, pause, 2, 3. So I'm showing you 3-second, but again, it can be anything, whatever works for you. So give that one a try. Number 4 is pulses. So similar with your tempo, it's just, again, it's changing up the pace of it. So for example, let's say we're doing a squat. This is one of my favorite ones here. So you would hold your weights and then you would sit down into your squat. So coming down, and then you would pause and then add a few pulses and then coming up to standing. And again, you can play around with this in so many different ways. You can add 1 pulse, you can add 10 pulses. So you could come down, pulse, stand. Pulse, stand. There's lots of variety there. Again, with a simple bicep curl, you would come up, add a little pulse, and down. So you're getting this extra little pump at the top, and then slow and controlled on the way down. So just these little movements. Lunges are another really great one. You could step back, pulse, and up. Pulse, and up. Lots of variety there as well. So that's pulsing. And then for our last one, we're going to do 1.5 reps. So what that looks like, for all sorts of different exercises, is where you do a half rep, come back down to the beginning, and then do a full rep. So you're doing 1.5 reps, and that's 1 count. So you would do, say, maybe 10 reps of your 1.5, so if that makes sense. So let's look at that in, say, maybe a shoulder press. So maybe you do one side, maybe you double up your weight, all sorts of choices here. So you go half, down, full, down. That's 1. Half, down, full, down. Half, down, full, down. And then you get a lot more work happening in that shoulder. Say bicep curls, half, down, full, down, half, down, full, down. Squats, half, up, full, up, half, up, full, up. So many varieties there. So that's our 5 ways to make a lightweight feel heavier. So number 1 is we double up the weights. You can hold them both in one hand and work that grip strength. Number 2 is we work on eccentrics. That's that controlled lowering, that time under tension. Number 3 is we change up the tempo. So you count, you pause at the top, you count on the way down, the way up. You focus on those pauses in there. And number 4 was pulsing, add a little bit of a pulse at the top of the movement or the bottom of the movement, depending on the exercise you're doing. And then the last one, number 5, was those 1.5 reps. You go halfway, you come down, you go all the way, you come down. That's 1 full rep. All right, give all those a try, see what you like. Let me know how it goes. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, all the social media, and I will see you in the next video.